There is growing concern about a new variant of coronavirus. The B11529 variant is the most heavily mutated version discovered so far, with Director of the Center for Epidemic Response and Innovation in South Africa reported as saying there was an unusual constellation of mutations and that it was very different from other variants that have circulated. Global authorities have begun to react with alarm to the new variant, with the EU and Britain among those tightening border controls as scientists seek to find out if the mutation is vaccine resistant. However, it is early days and the confirmed cases are still mostly concentrated in one province in South Africa. But there are hints it may have spread further, with concerns around how quickly the new variant spreads, its ability to bypass some of the protection given by vaccines, and what should be done about it. Should Nigeria and Nigerians be worried? What needs to be done immediately? These are some of the questions our guest will provide answers to. Welcome to Nigeria Today. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. Joining me to provide further insight into the new COVID-19 variant is Dr. Mukhtar Mohammed. He is the Technical Head, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19. Glad to have you on Nigeria Today.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. It's my pleasure.
Now, Doctor, what else do we know of this new COVID-19 variant, apart from fears that it could be heavily mutated and still in South Africa?
Certainly, we are still continuing to monitor the situation, and scientists and laboratories and experts are trying to study the details of the mutation and also monitor the people who have already been infected with this variant. As you rightly mentioned, the fear and anxiety and apprehension arises from the number of mutations in this particular variant. It has not been seen before. Just on the spike protein, they said there are over 30 mutations. And on the binding site, you have about 10 mutations alone. If you compare that to the Delta variant, which we so much dreaded, and with all the fears, it only had 2 mutations on its binding site. So certainly this one is several-fold more complicated, has more mutations, and theoretically we'll say that it poses more threat to the public. However, all this needs to be monitored and see how it impacts in the real world. In the population where it occurred, we understand that it has already been over 70% of all new cases that were found in that area. So it is something of concern, and certainly because we don't know what the outcome is in terms of its transmissibility and in terms of its ability to evade the immune system of the body, and also how it will turn out to be, how sensitive it will be to the existing vaccines. That is why we have apprehension, particularly in the scientific community. But to the public, I would say that people should not panic. Yes, there is concern, but it's not cause for panic. For now, we know that the standard measures that have been used to prevent infection still work for this one. What we are not sure is the rapid transmission and also the vaccination. And therefore, our standard precaution measures will still work for this variant.
It's okay. Now you've kind of educated us on how different this variant it differs from the Delta variant. Now, the World Health Organization convened a closed meeting of experts today on the matter. What are the developments from that meeting, if you can tell us?
I'm not privy to the discussions, because we've also been in meetings, but I'm sure it's something that will be discussed this night, and we will have more information about the virulence of this mutant, about its ability to evade the immune system, and also the additional measures that need to be taken. You are right, some countries have gone ahead to put on extreme measures of banning flights directly from arising from affected regions, and also put in mandatory quarantine for passengers that will be arriving from Monday. For Nigeria, we'll need to continue to monitor it. We'll still have passengers arriving from South Africa. We'll continue to enforce the standard precaution measures. We'll make sure that people who arrive in the country are COVID negative from their test. We'll test them again after 2 days. And then we'll make sure that they all are double vaccinated persons. So all these are measures to reduce the risk, to make sure that we protect our country and we protect our population.
Definitely. So far, there are 77 fully confirmed cases in Gauteng province in South Africa, 4 cases in Botswana, and 1 in Hong Kong, which is directly linked to travel from South Africa. Do we know if it has spread beyond these countries?
For now, that is the information we have. But you know, the most important aspect of getting to know your variants is doing the genetic sequencing. And if you don't do that, you won't be able to know. So countries that are able to test, to do the genomic sequencing early, will be able to detect these variants, but sometimes it is not real time, so it lags behind. For example, in Nigeria now we have prioritized testing all positive samples of people who have recent travels to South Africa. We are looking at the last 2 weeks, and any positive sample is being sequenced, and we are going to know the information in due course.
Okay. Now, what is Nigeria's immediate response likely to be?
So our immediate response is to increase vigilance, to make sure that we enforce the protocol. Wherever we have weaknesses in our points of entry, to try to strengthen them. We already had several meetings and exercises in both Abuja, at Lagos Airport. We are making sure that we do what is called assisted or enhanced surveillance in these points of entry, where we suspect more people, to make sure that we validate the credentials as we are required to do, and make sure that we have correct phone numbers, contact addresses of all passengers, so that they can be followed up. Passengers who arrive are supposed to test on day 2. We have had meeting with the laboratories to make sure that they call these passengers, they remind them, they nudge them, they follow them up, and make sure that they undertake that testing. And we are keeping an eye on passengers who have recent visit to South Africa.
Yes, thank you. You know, we're still not done with what we have on ground already, the COVID-19. Now we're talking about variants. We had of the Delta. Now this one has come, and we have to deal with it. Now, what should be done to create more awareness and to educate, especially the common man, the ordinary person in the market, about this new variant? Because sometimes it could sound academic. Can you break it down for the ordinary Nigerian?
So let me try to explain. Viruses undergo changes when they come into contact with human or body of their hosts. That is normal. They undergo mutation. This mutation can be positive. That is meaning that the virus will become less virulent, it will become less transmissible. That is positive for us. Or it can be negative, in the sense that the virus can sharpen its own skills that it can attach to the human body more readily, that it can cause more injury or more harm to the human body, and can even cause deaths and others. So that is the principle of mutation. But our bodies also have the ability to be able to recognize the vaccines, the viruses. When we take vaccines, now this ability of our body to recognize the viruses is enhanced, such that when the virus comes into contact with your body, quickly your body recognizes that this is the COVID-19 virus, and it attacks it and eliminates it, removes it out of the system so that it doesn't cause any harm to you. Now, these mutations can also affect the ability of our body to now fight these viruses, so that when they come into our body, our immune system or our defense system in the body does not recognize the virus. So the virus can now attach to the cells in your body and cause harm and cause sickness and also cause death.
It's okay. Thank you for educating us. Now, we'll take a breather now. When we return, there'll be more to discuss about this new variant. Don't go away.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms.
Start Times, Channel 101, Free TV, Channel 743, STV, Channel 419, and TV, Channel 486.
For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24,
news and more news.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you are still on time. We have been discussing the new COVID-19 variant found in South Africa and other countries. Now, Doctor, while we were on the break, you talked about adding more insight, telling us more about this, being aware of this new variant.
Yeah, so the bottom line is that when you have, this mutation was discovered in persons who were not vaccinated, the 77 cases you referred to in South Africa. The area where this mutation occurred is largely unmitigated. They are not vaccinated. And therefore, when you are not vaccinated, the vaccine finds a hold in your body and continue to grow and change forms. If you are not able to eliminate the virus in time, then the virus adapts to your body, and that is the process of the mutation. And then you cannot begin to transmit that virus, to other people. We believe that is what happened in that particular index case, that probably grew the virus, mutated it in their body, and then now transmitted it to other people. When people are vaccinated, usually what happens is that the virus is quickly removed from the system, and infection that is normally the infection will last between day 5 and day 14, or about 14 days. But with vaccination, you'll be able to eliminate the virus maybe in 5 days. So it will just be a transient infection, and it will be overcome by your body defenses. So the bottom line is, if we want to prevent these mutations, is to make sure that people have strong immune system, that they can eliminate these viruses from their body. Our level of vaccination in this country is very low. And what happened in South Africa, the conditions may not be very different from the conditions that we have in this country. And that's why we encourage people to come out and make sure that you get your vaccination. That vaccine is not only helping you, it is helping the entire community. It is helping the entire country. I'm very glad that Mr. President has agreed and accented to the mandate of the vaccine for federal civil servants, by December 1st. That will accelerate, the uptake of the vaccination. It will make sure that our offices, are secure, and people will be people will feel safer in the work environment, that everyone around is vaccinated. The president has also agreed, to return civil servants on grade level 12 back to work from December 1, but the condition is that you should get vaccinated. So we are opening up the system. We want to enhance productivity. We want to make sure that people contribute, to their quota, to the economy, to the work that we are doing. They continue to earn their livings, but they do that while they do not have the fear or trepidation that they are at risk of contracting COVID-19. So that is really a good news. And I think Nigeria should embrace this call by Mr. President to come out, particularly the civil servants, to make sure that we get vaccinated, because growing evidence continues to show that the risk of not vaccination, of not getting vaccinated, far outweighs, the whatever inconveniences people think about getting vaccinated.
Okay. Now, what should be the attitude of Nigerians to ensure that this new variant is kept at bay?
So the attitude is to be able to do away with all the rumors that are circulating. When we are looking for evidence, let us get our facts from people who are trained to provide that facts, from our experts, from the medical doctors, from people in authority, from people who take responsibility for the ordinary citizen. It is their responsibility. It is the responsibility of government to make sure that we have we say security of lives and property, but also to ensure that we have safe environment, that our population continues to remain healthy. So people should embrace this. It is not something that we ask for. It happened to us, but it is a very good way to make sure that we remain safe. So we make sure we get vaccinated. We mobilize our neighbors, our family members, our community members, to go and get vaccinated.
Okay. Would you advocate travel restrictions from, say, South Africa if this variant is confirmed to be as infectious as feared?
Well, even without this development, that is of this new variant that has been noted, we've been working behind the scene, monitoring global situations, doing country risk analysis to see countries that pose a threat, to Nigeria through travel. We've been monitoring the progress in Europe. We've seen that a lot of the countries are having their fourth waves now. Cases are rising in England, in Germany, many other countries in Europe and also in the Americas. So it is really a source of concern. We will revisit, our restriction when it is necessary, when it is appropriate. For South Africa now, we'll continue to monitor the situation. We have put in place some measures, enhanced measures, to make sure that, we do vigilance, we increase our vigilance, our surveillance at our points of entry, and we also provide travel advisories for passengers traveling to these affected regions for now.
You actually advised earlier that Nigerians should go get themselves vaccinated. What is Nigeria's status with regards to vaccination as at now? What are the statistics?
The statistics really are not very encouraging. It's we are still just about 3% of the population, of the target population, that have been vaccinated. But certainly we are going slowly, but there is an improvement regarding the uptake, as it were, several weeks ago. People have to come out en masse and do it. And our only barrier to people getting the vaccination now is sensitization, advocacy, and as we say, the arms. We have the vaccines. What we don't have are the arms, to push the jabs in. So several strategies are being worked on. And you know that the federal government, the state governments, traditional institutions, religious leaders, civil society organizations are all coming on board to work together to be able to improve the uptake of this vaccination. It's very slow. We are not happy with this situation. We need to do more, particularly at the state level and at the local government level, and also in the communities. And we should not say this is the job of government alone. It is not government. It is the responsibility of everyone. If you got yourself vaccinated, have you gotten your neighbor to be vaccinated? Because if your neighbor is not vaccinated, still he constitutes a risk, you know, to you, to your children, to the family, and to people around. So the more people we get vaccinated, the safer our environment becomes. So we need to take this campaign to everywhere, to our schools, to our prayer grounds, to markets, to all public spaces, and make sure that, you know, people comply. The vaccine itself is not really like it's a cure. No, it is not. But at least it helps to prevent hospitalization, it helps to prevent deaths, and it also helps to prevent the development of these mutations, as we have seen.
Yes, like you've said, awareness is key. People knowing what they should do, especially as regards vaccination. Now, we have to agree, you have to agree with me that some Nigerians, especially those in the rural areas, don't understand English. What is being done to ensure that this awareness reaches them in our various languages?
So, and that is why I say that this advocacy sensitization is local. Certainly, you will go to my village and be speaking grammar to ask people to take vaccines. We have influencers, we have people who are responsible, we have the gatekeepers. So we approach them, we go through them. We have the traditional institutions, the religious institutions. So we all have a role to play. People listen to their opinion leaders. The politicians who you know, represent the people need to add their voices to this. Members of the National Assembly, senators, governors, all elected officials, because you are responsible for your constituency. To show care for your people, you have to make sure that they are safe, you have to make sure that they are healthy, and you have to make sure that no other people constitute a risk to others in your place. So it is a job that is a job of everyone. It should not be left to government. Government alone will not be able to do much in this area.
It's okay. Well, I don't know what you'd like to add to or advise Nigerians, but in the foreseeable future, do you think there could be more variants?
Certainly there is going to be. I mean, as long as viruses do exist, you know, mutations are bound to occur. The flu vaccine has gone several millions of mutations, you know, over the last generations. So it's expected that mutations are going to continue. But whether these mutations are going to be dangerous mutations, deadly mutations, or they are going to be beneficial mutations, depends a lot on, you know, the activities that we do now. If we reduce the risk of transmission, if we have fewer people getting infected, if we all get vaccinated, the chances are that we'll be able to eliminate any infection that comes into our body, and will reduce the time frame within which the viruses do change their forms.
Okay. Dr. Mukhtar Mohammed, Technical Head, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19. Thank you for your time and expertise. We really taught us a lot.
Yes, thank you very much. As I was coming into the studio, we had a very good and exciting news, and I'm sure the Honorable Minister of Aviation will be addressing the press. We have reached an important milestone, you know, in the issues we had with flights directly to UAE. And that issue has now been resolved, and the minister will soon make that announcement. So really, it's an exciting news, amidst all the bad news that we've had between yesterday and today.
Thank you very much for that information. That's Nigeria Today. Don't forget, you can watch this and other editions on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I am Lydia Odijochi. Thank you for watching. Good evening.